Have you ever had that feeling where when you were first starting out your business, I think for me, it was definitely in my first year of business, that I was so embarrassed still by my website that I got to the point where somebody would say to me, "Do you have a business card?" And the amount of embarrassment and anxiety that my website caused me was enough that I would be like, "Oh, I don't have any business cards on me." And I'm a marketer. So I totally understand and empathize with you if that's the case, especially if you've done the best that you can with the budget that you have. In today's episode, we are going to be talking with some amazing travel advisors. Well, actually, I'm not even going to be in this episode. We have invited 4 travel advisors to share with you their experiences when they jumped behind the keyboard with me in their ears by their sides for 2 days to create their own websites. You are not going to believe how similar their stories are to how you probably feel about your website. So let's jump in. Hey there, I'm Sandra McLemore, and I have trekked both the globe and the travel industry for over 25 years. From my first steps as a travel agent to my exciting career as a travel TV host and contributor on network news and morning shows. And now, coaching over 42,000 travel entrepreneurs. Guys, I've seen the highs and the lows of what it means to market and sell travel. Whether you're taking your very first steps in the industry or scaling up to reach amazing new goals, perhaps feeling a little bit adrift and looking for a compass, you, my friend, are in the right place. In each episode, we're going to learn from stories that inspire, strategies that work, and conversations that dive deep into the heart of starting up and scaling a travel business. Fasten your seatbelts, stow away your doubts, and prepare for takeoff. This is your boarding pass to the Travel, Marketing, and Media Podcast. Okay, we're going to be talking firstly to Laura, sharing her story of when she sat down to do her very own website and how she got from feeling like I told you at the beginning of the podcast to having the most outstanding website.
I took website in a weekend because I never really took my website seriously. I was focusing more on social media and used my website as a legitimacy portion, not so much as, hey, clients actually go here and look at this information. I didn't really look for retention to keep people onto my website. I basically just had a lot of links that took you other places. I took website in a weekend because I really needed to up my website game. When I signed up for a website in a weekend, I was super excited about it and also very nervous because it's a commitment to say, that you're going to spend this time to do something and spend the money to do something that you're not sure about. So it was very nerve-wracking to have to do all that, but it was great because of all the setup they did beforehand with asking us for information and kind of figuring out who we are to have them help us set up our websites. And then when it came up to the actual weekend, they hold your hand throughout the whole process. It was so step-by-step and so easy. And there were so many spots where it was like, okay, take a break. We're going to make sure that this, everybody is where they're supposed to be. Then there's even breakout sessions. So if you need extra help to get caught up, then they can help you with that as well. You don't think that like a Zoom call or a meeting to set up your website with a bunch of other people, how is that going to work? But it works really well. And it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And it worked out really well. Now I feel great about my website. It's something I'm actually proud of and actually like to show people and encourage people to go and look at it and see exactly what I'm about and what my services are. It's a total transformation. I learned so much from the class. I had a logo that I loved and I realized while it was a great logo, it wasn't fitting what I wanted for my company. So that was a huge transition for me to take a look and go, okay, I need to transition to what I want, not what I am. So just that whole process and going through and having the website complete and having it just looks amazing the way that it's laid out, and I'm so proud of it and love to share it with people now. I would describe the experience of Website in a Weekend as business changing, not just elevate my website, but it elevated my confidence in what I was selling and what I was doing and how I was presenting myself so much more than just the website did. So it really kind of turned me around and started me fresh in my business.
That was amazing. Now let's hear from Bianca.
It was my first time ever having a website. I did not know what I was getting myself into. I remember in my original call, they told me to be patient and understanding because I'm not a tech person and I just didn't know a single thing about a website design. It was a learning process. Literally, I had to listen. For the first time in my life, I actually had to listen for instruction and not just do what I wanted to do. In my head, I knew what I wanted. And for me, it was hard to convey in the beginning what were my expectations. But everybody was super patient in getting into my head of what I wanted. And they delivered just what I wanted. So it all started with the logo. And when they first sent me the drafts or just to start looking at options, I kind of threw my hands up in the air. I'm like, this is not what I wanted. We already went through this discussion, but through their patience, they literally said, you have to start from here. These are your options, and we have to narrow it down. And they did. Once the logo was done, and I was provided different types of logo to use for different things. It was perfect. And then we dove into the website. One thing I regret doing it is not hiring travel marketing media for my copyright. I wish I had included that in the packet because even though I liked the writing that was provided to me, now that I look at it, I like Sandra's style of writing better. It speaks more to me. So that's one thing I would have changed from the beginning right away. I love my website. I get a lot of compliments. Definitely get the presence of a lot of companies reaching out to me, inquiring who developed my website, how much they love it, how my taglines speak to my brand. It has enhanced the traffic into the business.
Next up is Laurie. Laurie probably resonates with you more than you will expect, so let's hear her story.
I took Website in a Weekend, hoping to have a nice, professional-looking website that people would be happy to go to, I'd be proud of, and I wouldn't have to play around with so much as in WordPress. Before I had a website with WordPress, which I probably spent a lot of my time updating the plugins and just trying to make it look better and professional. With Website in a Weekend, having a perfect template that I love, it was very easy to work with. Going into Website in a Weekend, I was afraid to try Wix versus WordPress, but I was really surprised how easy it was. Each section was demonstrated very well. Having the photos done for you, and even to have the copywriting written for you as well was fantastic. They really narrowed down the copy and made it very precise. That part was amazing. My website turned out great. I love the services page that was, the whole copy was written for us already, so we didn't have to think about that part of it. The get started page is where your planning fees go. I send a lot of people actually to my service page and to my planning fee page right off the bat so that they know that, this is the type of person you're dealing with. I think my website speaks to the type of clients that I want to book, busy professionals, retreat leaders that I'm looking for, and anyone looking to form small groups. The website drives exactly what I want to sell. So I can really focus more on serving your clients and booking travel, which is the whole point of having a great website, because it does the work for you and you can have more time to actually spend with your clients.
And of course, Christy Costello. Christy has the most amazing story to share. Let's take a listen.
When the opportunity came for Website in a Weekend, I was really drawn to the fact that I wanted my website to be more professional and less DIY looking. My website had gone through several iterations, but they were all sort of hodgepodge and do-it-yourself. I loved the opportunity to have the text written for me, especially because even if I was doing it myself, having another set of eyes on something and having someone from outside of you judge and critique and create, it's just so helpful to have those professional eyes on it. I loved the idea of it forcing me to really nail down my color story, my branding, my look, my voice, my message, who I'm trying to target. I had to really come down on what suppliers I want to sell, everything. And even if it changes, it forced me to take action on things that I had been kind of dragging my feet on. So I felt like it was a great opportunity, such a small time commitment, which was great and very doable, especially in our profession we're on constantly. So the fact that it was like, okay, this is just these days, these times, block your schedule, that I could crunch it out and come away with something that looked better than what I could do myself was a huge benefit. I love the idea of someone in the industry with a marketing eye really guiding me through the process of what template to use, the how to capture text that people will read, how to navigate. I mean, one thing that's always stuck with me in all of Sandra's stuff is not to put the menu at the top, that treat it more like IKEA. You want them to go down the page. I've never forgotten that. She did that in one of those little free lessons. And I've never forgotten that because nobody else tells you that. Nobody else will say, don't put them in. Do you want them going away? Yeah. So I love the flow of it. I love that she looked at my website. I mean, for someone who's been in the industry as a professional so long, she actually looked at my website and gave me her feedback. It was incredible. I feel like throughout the whole training that she was coaching us at the same time in terms of language, in terms of the stuff that most travel advisors do that doesn't help you get clients. And the focus kept coming back to what gets you that click, what gets you that inquiry, what gets you that subscriber. It kept coming back to marketing numbers instead of all being fluff. All through the whole thing, you're getting these little tidbits. One thing I really appreciated about the class was the weeks leading up to it, I had opportunities to really hone and nail down who I was. So she did many different mini surveys about my brand, about my suppliers, about my colors, my fonts, like pretty much anything you can think of, so that it forced me to really get clear. Because how do you communicate something if you're not clear? And so that process was really good for me. You know, I'm such a young brand that it was always kind of in flux. And this whole exercise helped me to stabilize some things and really drill down to who I am as a travel advisor in my company, which was so good. That part was really helpful to me. After the website in a weekend, I did go back in and kind of firm up some things in terms of my colors and fonts. And I also reflected on Sandra's feedback. But after all those tweaks were made, I just look at my website and I think, I love what this looks like. It feels classy. It feels professionally done, which is what I wanted. I didn't want a website that looked DIY anymore. Without this training, there's no way I would have been able to create a website like that. I just simply would not have had the tenacity to get through every step and piece that I needed to do to solidify that message.
And that, my friends, is 4 of our favorite travel advisors from our community. And listen, when I say favorite, I say that because I just could listen to them forever and talk about exactly all the kinds of feels that we have when it comes to doing things for the first time, being afraid, putting yourself out there and not knowing what's going to happen. There are literally hundreds of other stories just like these women have shared today. To learn more about Website in a Weekend and when our next intake of Website in a Weekend is, head over to travelmarketingandmedia.com/website. And hey, if doing it with us is not for you, then head over to that same link and check out how we can do it 100% for you. We'll see you in the next episode. If this podcast episode resonated with you and you'd like to hear more, head over to travelmarketingandmedia.com/podcast to get notified about new episodes and also listen to any that you may have missed. And if you'd like to ask a question about this episode, you can send it there for me to answer on a live Q&A. We'll see you in the next episode.